Seeing none, let's move on and start our meeting with student and staff recognition.
Good evening, Leslie Atkinson, Public Information Officer. We are going to do some student and staff recognition. In the interest of time, I'm going to do all of the recognition at the beginning, and then as soon as all 6 items are acknowledged, we will take a moment to do pictures. So for any of the students or staff that are here for recognition, please stay until photos are taken, and then you are free to leave afterward. Number 1, Belgrade FFA was selected to compete in the 2024 National FFA Convention Food Science Contest in Indianapolis, Indiana. Belgrade FFA placed 10th in the nation as a team in the food science contest. Individually, Alex Tatarka placed first. He is national champion. You want to stand up? Are you here? No. Ella Young placed 9th. Is Ella here? Okay. Kaylee Reed placed in the silver division. I see Katie back there. And Katie McKinney placed in the bronze division as well. By placing in the top 10 teams, they have been awarded a paid trip to Atlanta to take part in the International Poultry Expo in January. We're very proud of our members and their accomplishments at the state and national level. The Food Science and Technology Career Development event requires students to have an in-depth understanding of food product development, food presentation, and food safety issues. Participants also use their sensory skills to solve problems and make sound decisions. Congratulations to our Belgrade FFA. Number 2, Wilson Schmidt. Would you like to stand up, please? So Wilson Schmidt is a Belgrade High School junior, and he is the AA state champion in boys cross country. He is the first individual champion for Belgrade since we moved to AA. He finished with a time of 15 minutes and 38 seconds, which is a pace of 4 minutes and 53 seconds per mile. Wow. Congratulations. Number 3, if I can have Connor Kelly and Lilia Troxel, please stand up. So Belgrade High School had 2 golfers with all conference honors. Connor Kelly was 11th for the boys, and Lilia Troxel was 14th at the conference golf tournament. Furthermore, we're going to have Lilia keep standing because Lilia shot an 82 first round and a 92 the second round at the state golf tournament, and she won 8th place overall in AA. She is the first female golfer from Belgrade to place in the top 10 in over 20 years. She was also an all-state selection in golf. Number 5, we have several students from Belgrade High School. May I have Sawyer Good, Brody Richards, Forrest Martinez Vanderweide, and Linus McKenna stand up. These students attended the 2024 Econoquest STEM conference with our STEM coordinator, Amy Guevara. This conference was hosted by the Montana Global Affairs Council and gave students the opportunity to learn about Montana's role in global trade. Specifically, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, as well as state workforce development and opportunities in the fields of quantum and photonics, film, language, and agriculture. And last but not least, I don't know if I saw, is Morgan Kirk here? All right. So Morgan Kirk, we will recognize her. She is our high school choir director, and she is the president-elect of the Montana Choral Directors Association. This association has 22,000 members nationally, and Morgan will represent Montana at the National ACDA Conference in Texas next year. We could take a couple minutes to take pictures, and then we can let our students and staff go.
Right.
I think I've been. Right, I guess we'll move on now to the superintendent's report. While we work on our turn again.
All right, thank you. I would just like to, thank the community for, getting out the vote. We were excited about the land exchange, the land and building exchange passing. We know there are a lot of emotions and feelings that go with that, and so we honor and respect all people's, thoughts and ideas about that exchange. We'll be working with the city to work on the details now of the documentation that needs to happen to do the exchange and the actual appending process. So more to come on that. Update on the Story Creek student pickup. I was out there today. It's running really well. We still have some cars backed up right before 3 o'clock on Bollinger. So Lori's going to send out a letter to families tomorrow asking them to come a little bit later and see if we can get that away, and if not, we'll let the cars in sooner. So we're letting them. The problem is if we let the cars in and there was an emergency, there's nowhere for the fire trucks to go. So people are in their cars, we can get them to move, so it's not an unworkable situation, but we were holding those back. It went quick, bell rang at 3:15, and the last car was found at 3:28, according to my watch. And having the city put in that road really did, it made a huge difference, so thanks again to the city for making that. And then I presented 2 board meetings ago on the administrative evaluation process, supervision evaluation, and then board member said, can we hear about the teacher evaluation too? So there's a lovely presentation out there on the board, but nobody can see it. And then history there. So I'll just go through that. I'll just have to talk you through it. So we talked about teacher supervision and evaluation. Board members, you can look at this front page of the cover sheet that we use to inform our staff what our supervision evaluation process is. Supervision is the formal and informal process of providing feedback and mentoring to a staff member, increasing skill sets, and providing clear communication of job expectations and goals. So supervision is that part where coaching, we're talking about goals, we're helping, giving feedback, celebrating the great things that are happening. Evaluation is the formal process of determining the job performance. So that's the part where there's some, documentation of that. How does this compare to what the job description says and what the expectations are? In school settings, the principal is responsible for both. We have other avenues to help with supervision that are not related to the administrators. So we have coaches in the buildings to help teachers grow and change. We offer professional development, but ultimately the principal is responsible for both supervision and evaluation. A typical teacher supervision and evaluation process starts with teachers set goals and think about actions that they're going to take that year to continue to improve. Teachers and administrators are usually really on the same page with that, especially after the teacher's been here for a while. But once the teacher has set goals, the teacher and administrator meet together to talk about what goals they would like to add based on the administrator's recommendation. And frame those in the way that they're matching what the building goals are for the district goals. And then we have scheduled or formal observations and then impromptu or walkthrough observations that happen. For any formal observation, there's a post-observation review and conversation. So after a formal observation, the principal will meet with the staff member and there will be written feedback given. And then if there were any issues that came up or concerns, then there would be follow-up and be additional observations or walkthroughs or conversations. And then at the end of the year, there's one summative evaluation, and a conversation that goes with that. For non-tenured teachers, so teachers in their first 3 years, they complete this evaluation cycle annually. So they do goal setting, they have a minimum of 2 observations that the administrator does, 2 formal observations, and then 1 summative evaluation. So that's the process, the evaluation cycle for a non-tenured teacher. For tenured teachers, they do goal setting annually, and then every 3 years, they do goal setting, a minimum of 1 observation by the administrator and 1 summative evaluation. At any point in time, the tenured teacher can go back on that evaluation cycle. So say in year 2, there were some questions or concerns, the administrator could go ahead and work with the teacher to put them back on that evaluation cycle when we get at least 1 formal observation and the summative. Just some additional notes, an observation, those formal observations includes a time observing, the minimum is 20 minutes, it could be longer than that. A post-observation conference with the administrator and the teacher, and then the administration report. So that's what makes up a formal observation. Summative evaluation tool, we use Rocky Mountain Evaluation System, and it's tied to the Danielson framework for teaching and evaluation. So when staff come to work for us, they get this little purple folder, and it has a model in it. So this is the model we use, the Danielson model. This is the summary page, you have a copy of it, and then in here, it explains what each of those are, and it gives examples of the kinds of behaviors, what we would see the teacher doing, what we would see the student doing, so that we're all clear on what we're looking for. When we're looking for that high quality instruction. So you can see that the Danielson framework has 4 big areas. One is planning and preparation, or how do teachers know what they're going to teach? How are they planning that? How are they getting ready for those lessons? The second domain is the classroom environment. How are they setting up their classroom so that students can be successful? They're creating expectations, they're creating routines, and they're managing student behavior. The third domain is instruction. So that's that actual, when I'm teaching a lesson or when I'm working with students in small groups, or after the lesson when students are doing independent work, what is my role as a teacher? And the fourth domain is professional responsibilities. So that's all that other stuff outside of the classroom. Am I collaborating with other teachers during meeting time? Am I working with parents and communicating well? All those other things that that make, you know, a well-rounded staff member. We have great teachers in our district. And you know, it's a real celebration at the end of the year when we're taking a look at it, all the things that we're celebrating, all the things that teachers have done to meet the needs of their students and the needs of the district. I also gave you, board members, an example of our formal observations. Principals can use a variety of ways to do that, and they do. So I've given you examples of a couple of those. And then I also gave you an example of the summative evaluation, which is this teacher short form. So that we picked 7 areas off of this that would be our focus. If a teacher is struggling in a different area, where they to do for something. Any questions? Very quickly.
Is this significant different than the evaluation process?
No, it's the same. there's nothing changed this year. I think the last time we changed it was a couple of years ago when we worked, as a team and with the union to talk about readjusting these, the ones that we were highlighting. We brought in some more of the professionals. But, you know, it's been pretty, and it, you know, having worked in 4 different states, it's very similar to, you know, it's a traditional model for teaching evaluation.
And yet you said the administration can use their own this is just one sample of evaluation, that they can use whatever evaluation they want.
So the summative evaluation, we all use the same one.
Okay.
So Rocky Mountain evaluations on the computer, we have it recorded. For the observations, there are a couple of different examples of observation points, but we don't have standardized.
Are we working on getting standards?
Yeah, we worked on that a couple of years ago, and I think it's probably gonna come back around. That was true in my other districts, that there wasn't necessarily a standardized form between buildings, because principals find one way of doing it easier, better, more cohesive with their way of thinking than others. So we're weighing the pros and cons of having mandatory. I think that the ultimate question is the form giving the teacher good feedback? Is the form useful for the administrator to provide that good feedback? And is that helping to shape whatever comes next? Any celebrations and continuation of activities, or, you know, what the teacher's doing, or any areas that. So that's the real sign of a good observation. And really the conversation is the most important piece. But yeah,
What percentage of the evaluation is the observations? Are they 100%?
that's, yeah, the bulk of it. I mean, ultimately, as you know, we're all public employees, anything that we do anytime is open for evaluation. And so if, when a band teacher is conducting their, you know, doing their parent show, they're doing a great job, that can go into it. You know, if the principal's there watching that performance, that can go into the evaluation, right? If they were walking down the hallway and they stopped to talk to a student about behavior and it didn't go so well, that can also go into evaluation if the principal is watching that or follow up with it later. So really, everything we do is open to being included in the final summative evaluation.
So the observations, are you coaching your admin to how to approach those observations? Because it's like, that's a pretty important piece.
Right. That's probably one of the most important things that principals do. So part of what we're doing right now is doing those shared walkthroughs and talking about, after you leave the classroom, what did you see? What did I see? Because that helps us be more consistent with what we're looking for when we're in the rooms for those observations. So yeah, we're doing some shared PD. It's been good.
Do we measure against student success, any of these? Every one of these feels really touchy feely, maybe totally subject to what kind of day people are having. I don't see anything here that's against the heart criteria, right? X% of my students pass. Last year I had one or.
Yeah, we have those conversations outside of the evaluation process. Now they are part of the evaluation in the sense that we have some expectations about student performance. But we here in Belgrade, and I don't know if there's anywhere in Montana that ties evaluation to a specific student health.
Isn't that what we're trying to do? Successful students. I mean, I guess you do all this right and everybody's having a good view of it. It probably leads to that.
Yeah, and I think that's, yeah.
My evaluation is working like that.
Coming from their business world, yeah. I think there's a challenge with, you know, what, you know, teachers. I think, we've seen challenges come from, school districts or states that implemented procedures where they said, your evaluation is gonna be tied to your student achievement data. Because students come in with a wide range of abilities, and how are you gonna measure? Are you gonna do it by growth? Are you gonna do it by actual outcomes? It becomes more complicated.
We have these awesome standard-based things, so you would think we could measure this. Spent all these years to put them in.
I agree.
Guess I wasn't done. All right, that's another time. Thank you. All right, thanks.
That'll be Frank's stock, there. What's the main spot?
We want people to stay. We want to retain.
I think we're, one of our goals is obviously we have a goal of increasing student achievement. And so by having conversations during our Friday afternoon times, by tracking the data, by getting better at collecting and analyzing data, by getting better at saying, we're not seeing good growth here, so we're going to change these things. That's how we're trying to address those. And it comes down to individual teacher performance, and that's a conversation that the principal has with the teacher. I mean, certainly data is included in this, but it's not one of the specific criteria.
That's some of the stuff we're looking at, right? It's from a
Oh,
board
yeah.
perspective, we got a
Oh,
couple of
absolutely.
key places we're watching. So
Yeah.
it's reasonable.
Absolutely. And celebrating the teachers who routinely have really outstanding data. And helping and figuring out, what's going right there so we can make that happen.
It would be interesting to see how you tie all that together. Mr. Stock's point, I think you can use that data to improve performance next year.
Oh,
Exactly why you do these things.
You'll see more of that as we get better with the data that's going to come to you as a board. Yeah, so we'll be able to compare. We do our next set of assessment in January and the beginning of February, so then we'll be able to take a look at this.
Any further questions for Edie? We'll move on to the student representative report. So I'd like to introduce Margaret Bell. She is the student council president. Is that correct? Senior at Belgrade High.
Yep.
Welcome to the meeting. Would you just like to fill us in on what's going on with the student council and student body?
Yeah, so
Um,
I'm here today because I was recently elected student body president over at the high school. And one of the responsibilities with that is to attend school board meetings and then report back to student council, just kind of general student body, as well as bring their voices here if they're not able to make it. I'm also involved in a few other clubs as well as some sports at school, so kind of know what's going on around. Currently at the high school, they just get into second quarter. We do have winter sports starting soon. I believe tryouts, first practices start next week, and then wrestling, I believe, has their first tournament December 7th, which is, I believe, a Saturday, and then basketball games will proceed the following week. We also have winter cheer going on, and then pretty sure we have swim going on. And then club-wise, FCCLA is currently doing their annual pie fundraiser. They make pies, the students and teachers at the school can buy them, and then they'll hand them out right before Thanksgiving break. Student council is also about to run a food drive as part of Camp Grizz, which for anyone who's unfamiliar with that, MSU and the Bozeman Belgrade community competes against University of Montana and the Missoula community and seeing who can raise the most food donations and money for their local food banks right before Thanksgiving. So gives that opportunity to the community to give back over the holidays. At the school, I don't think we've done it for a few years, so we're hoping to bring in some good numbers. We're doing a competition between our instructional guidance classes with rewards for both first and second place. And we're hoping to lead the cast into winning against Grizz. Should be their 20th win this year, so.
Thanks a lot. District Clerk, Carrie, you want to fill us in on what's going on, please?
I can't remember what I put in there anymore. I put our call A and B numbers in there, and they are slightly down. So I didn't go through, and look at specific classes yet as far as like grade levels and, schools, things like that yet, but I will. To start comparing, I think Dee Dee did some work on that. But we're starting our conversations about FTE and stuff for next year based off of numbers we got, for fall. On October 29th, we hosted all the Gallup County clerks, the people that do my job at all the other schools. We hosted them here in this room and did a meeting and talked about all of the things, the deadlines and all that stuff that's coming up. It's been big conversations about open enrollment and the TJACT came up. We're also hosting the MASBO Region 4 workshop since I'm the Region 4 director this year. We're hosting that here as well. If we don't move before then. Otherwise, we'll host it in wherever building we have training in at that time. And I'm working right now on getting my MASBO certification and my national certification. And then I will be out of the office for the next regular meeting, and Trey's gonna handle the camera and all that stuff for me. So he's gonna be up to speed on all of that stuff. So, but I will plan on attending remotely, so I can still do the minutes. And I'll be here if you guys have questions.
Any questions for Gary? Move on to the board report. No, Mary Ellen, what's the things you wanted to talk about?
I have three things I would like to say. I went to the assembly today, and I just want to say, the veteran assembly, and I just want to say how impressed I am that you put 3,000 kids in there, and they were so respectful, and they were so well behaved. And I think that reflects upon our kids and our staff. And I was just very, very excited about that. And American Education Week is next week, November 18th through the 22nd. And I just want to go on record saying that I am really appreciative of all of the staff that we have on board. And then I went to the MTSBA conference in Missoula, October 17th and 18th. It was much better than it was last year. And the one thing that I came home with is that legislature is starting on January 6th. And the hint that they gave us was that we should have a meet and greet with all of the area legislatures in our system and have them come into the system. And I have suggested this to Dee and to Troy. And I really think that would help us because they have a new system for emails from the legislature. And the lady who was president of the Montana School Boards Association said, if the legislators have met you, when you send them an email, they will look at that email. So I really think that we need to be on that because it's going to be a very difficult legislative year for us. We need to advocate.
Excellent comments. Anyone else have anything to say? There none, we'll move on to our principals section. Elementary, Laura, did you have anything you wanted to add to the summary?
That's already what we said.
Oh, I was just wondering if you had anything to add to the summary.
No, I just know if there's any questions about what we mean by awesome attendance and the things that have been tracking right now. It was pretty fun having 194 students come up that are being assembled for something else. We came up and on the floor on Little Prides last week. It puts some pressure on them if we really wanted to let them school backpack. Let's see. Forgot to prep a few of our students that they might not get one. So, anyway, any questions for?
Can you tell them what the definition is of awesome attendance?
Yeah, what we look at is students that miss less than 5% of the school year, and so at the end of the quarter, we did 45 days. So that was 4.5% for chronic absenteeism, but we looked and saw roughly 2 days or less would have meant for awesome attendance, and so kids who miss even a couple days a month are in jeopardy of having chronic absenteeism, which is there's a lot to that. There's a lot of research behind that. Now that we're getting through kind of the sickness stuff that went on the last couple of weeks, I'm having tenants like they'll be sending out to our families about the importance of attendance.
Questions from the board? Move on to middle school, Julie, you want to speak about that?
Good evening, everyone. Questions regarding my summary that I put in there? We were really excited about our moon rocks from NASA coming. Anna, as you remember last year in the spring, Anna Morris she was able to go to NASA. She received an award, a certificate. So because of that, they're considered to be a national treasure. So we have to be of utmost secure, keep them under security, and the kids don't know when they're coming yet. So it'll be a bit of a surprise. If any of you would like to come over, reach out, let me know. We can't talk about it until after the fact and put pictures on until they're back in the mail to NASA. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Another shout out to the Veterans Day Assembly and to Jim Tweed, who was the guest speaker there, and he will be retiring this year. So a big shout out to him. That's great. Other than that, a recognition of all of our students of the month. We appreciate them, and a great big shout out to our PTK, who just today we received, along with them in our wellness committee, we received concrete ping pong tables, ladder ball sets, and also, what else did we receive? Cornhole, and so it'll be also for community to use, so they won't, disappear. So they will be stable. I don't think they'll walk off anywhere anytime soon. So thanks to the PTK for purchasing some of those for our kids outside as well. Join us on the 22nd for a staff chili cook-off. We'd love to have you come over and be a taste tester. So.
Thanks, Julie. Any questions? And last but not least, Gloria, Tyler.
Good evening, everyone. Just to start off from the high school, just seconding and thirding the Veterans Day Assembly. So it's great to have that at the high school. Great turnout. I think, that's I was impressed with the number of community members who are also there as well. So cool that the community gets involved and the number of phone calls I get about asking about that too. So you can tell there's a lot of interest. We also had our first quarter pause awards. So that's positive achievement, work ethic, and service. And we had almost 100% teacher recommendation rate. And so last Wednesday we had a really great celebration for those students who earned pause awards. And a lot of teachers help out with grabbing pizza, getting materials together, cooking some homemade goods for desserts and stuff. And then 2 activities announcements. Next Tuesday, the 19th, is the winter sports parent meeting. And then the following Monday, the 25th, is when tryouts for basketball and all winter sports will begin.
Any questions for Tyler?
Okay, yeah, but the purpose of doing one great big sports meet at the beginning of the year is they didn't have a winter sports and a spring sports. What happened to that?
I cannot answer that. I think maybe to catch other people, but yeah.
All right. Thanks, Tyler. Sylvie, 0.
Good evening, folks. I don't know if you guys heard the land exchange passed. So that's exciting for me.
Did you stop fixing stuff?
We're still taking care of the buildings. Of course, you can see stuff that we got written on here. Nothing too crazy. Shout out to the maintenance folks, Jay and Jason, our maintenance department, 2 people. And myself, when I'm able to, 93 tickets, 94 we closed in 1 month. That's amazing. And actually just scheduled, we got an applicant for the other open position that's been open for years. We're interviewed with a guy this week, and hopefully that'll work out. And we'll actually have a full maintenance department, which should be awesome. That's it. You guys got any questions? All right.
0. And technology, Mike.
There's 2 things to bring to your attention this month. We're moving from Bloxy to Deladeo for our web filtering and classroom management monitoring system. It is cheaper than what we're currently using, which is Bloxy. And it does a better job. We did some testing across some of the schools and they seem to like the interface much better and it was easier to navigate. So the teachers looks like they're happy about the changes that we're doing. Thank you. Also, we're looking at parent communication system for district-wide communication. We're looking at Parent Square and Bright Arrow. We've had one demo from Bright Arrow. We have a demo from Parent Square at the end of this week. Question?
That's fine. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. We have a motion.
I move to adopt the consent agenda items 1 through 5 is listed on the agenda and board packet. Authorize necessary action for these items and include the same in the minutes.
Also, the motion and second. Do we have any public comments on the consent agenda? Seeing that comes back to the board. Yeah, carrying up to the vote. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-0. New business, Edie. So we certainly consider declaration.
I move to declare an unforeseen emergency for the closure of Ridgeview Elementary School on November 4th, 2024 in accordance with sections 20-9-801 through 20-9-806 due to community and school health concerns related to possible norovirus outbreak.
I second it.
Good motion and a second. Do you have any public questions? Back to board questions. Didn't say anything about this meeting. We good?
No.
All right. Let's bring up to vote. All in favor of approving the updated school closure, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Out of state travel.
Notice, fine, created,
Oops.
November 7th, 2024.
Sorry. It's Mary's birthday too, by the way.
Happy birthday.
All right, let's say travel, senior trips.
I move to approve the travel request for the graduating seniors to travel to Lagoon Amusement Park in Farmington, Utah, June 5th through 6th, 2025.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any public questions or comments? Comes back to the board. Any board questions?
So why do the bus drivers get to sleep and nobody else does?
Yeah.
Is that
It's a law.
a law?
Because you won't be tired when they get.
They get very cranky if they don't get their sleep.
Any other questions? All right, comes back to the vote. So in favor of approving the out-of-state travel senior trip, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. Transportation contract.
Good evening. So we have a family with 2 students that are a family in transition. And so we offered them a contract instead of picking them up before 7 o'clock.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the McKinney-Vento contract for 2 elementary education students whose housing situation is in transition and who are currently living outside the school district boundaries.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do you have any further questions? Any board questions or comments?
I would like to know why, you won't be able to answer this as an LPI question, but why is an elementary student $7.50 and an high school student $11.50 for the same mile?
Email Donnell Rosenthal.
Pardon me?
Email Donnell Rosenthal. She can help answer.
Donnell's still there?
Yep.
Okay, I'll ask her.
Any other questions for Scott? Comes back to the board for a vote. All in favor of approving the transportation contracts, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Did you
Thanks,
ask about their student votes?
She wanted to stay.
Oh,
We're holding her hostage.
If this is a meeting that she should stay for, it's gonna be short and sweet at least.
Thomas likes to talk, so that's.
All right, revisions to policy 5122. Thomas, do you want to speak about those this year?
Yes, thank you, board. So there is a caveat to this. We're gonna be making a slight amendment to the second paragraph. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth line where it starts with the superintendent may. So I'd like to recommend that we add, in the event of an extreme circumstance, the superintendent may determine da da da. Finish the rest of that sentence. So I'd like to add that into the language in there.
I move to approve the revisions of policy 5122, fingerprints and criminal background investigations with the adaptation.
So we have a motion and a second to public comment. Who's back to the board questions or comments?
So what does it ultimately mean? Because I saw the red, it was the strike through. But what does it ultimately mean to start the differential?
It hasn't been updated since 2015 is the biggest thing. Also just adding the updated National Child Protection Act. Really clarifying that, hey, look, we're not going to start employees before they get their background, just making sure it's annotated. It really wasn't annotated in our, if you look at the red, it's not in there. So just clarifying, really putting some stuff in stone. Breaking down volunteers and employees, just overall making sure we have solid ones.
Okay. It looked like it was kind of a clarification, but I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something.
All right, any other questions for Thomas? Before we bring it back to the vote? All in favor of approving revision to policy 5122? Say aye. Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And let's see, revisions to policy 5122 F1, Thomas, what's that all about?
Right, so in the packet, you saw there was a pretty old form in the packet again from 2015. We have been using the 2022 version since I've been here. And then we're just updating the form to be on the board policy. It talks about the applicant's rights and then the applicant's consent. So the 2-page form that we give when we do backgrounds for employees and volunteers.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve revisions to policy 5122 F1, fingerprints and criminal background investigations, applicants' rights and consent to fingerprints.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do you have any public comments? Comes back to the board questions or comments?
Under detail, it says that the School Boards Association has looked at this. It says that school board revisions to the authorization to release information. Is that school board language?
Yeah, this is NTSBA's form, so yeah, they've been in collaboration. And
Okay.
this has been in place with NTSBA for a couple of years. So,
Okay.
yep.
Any other questions, comments? Good. Comes back to a vote. All in favor of approving revisions to policy 5122 F1, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 6-0. And the last item on the agenda, budget participation agreements. Let's see, did you want to speak about this, Gary? Is that you? Or should we just start with a motion?
You can do a motion.
Let's just, does anyone have a motion?
I move to approve the MTSUIP multi-district participation agreement effective July 1st, 2024, and authorize the district clerk, Carrie Fisher, to sign the agreement on the district's behalf.
You have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any public comment? That's the board.
And this is strictly for unemployment.
Yeah, MTSU by view of the Montana School Unemployment Insurance Program.
Okay.
So it's just the agreement that we have with them.
It was a dry read.
Yeah. Is this the organization you're always invited to the breakfast?
Yes. Yes.
This is the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one and MSGIA, which is our
Yes.
property and liability carrier, so we get
It's-
invited to both.
Mitsu, that's always sends us an invitation.
How often do we have to renew this?
I've never seen where we've had to renew it. I think that they had some changes to the bylaws not long ago through their board. And that's why we had to renew it. Otherwise, if nothing changes, I think it stays there. I tried to do some research because I kind of thought you guys might say, what other options do we have? And I kind of found out we don't really have any other option. 100% of the schools in Montana are on MTSUIP, so, we have options for workman's comp, but not unemployment, so I couldn't find any other options for us.
We have one option.
Yeah, we have one option.
Any more questions for Carrie? It comes back to the votes. All in favor of approving the multi-district participation agreement in employment insurance, say aye. Aye. All those same sign. Here's 6 to 0. We
Nicely
That
done.
was a good one, guys.
That is pretty good money.
Okay.
Steve, you didn't